That is London.
60 minutes is all it took to bring humanity to the very brink of extinction. Mankind mobilized. A new age arose. The age of the great predator cities. Survival of the fastest.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 25 of the DNA Film Wars podcast. Today we are reviewing Mortal Engines, directed by Christian Rivers, not Peter Jackson as the marketing would have you to believe. Written by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, and Peter Jackson.
Barely.
He touched it. Based on the novel by Philip Reeve and starring Hera, Hilmar, Robert Sheehan, Hugo Weaving, and I'm going to butcher this one, Jihae?
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, I guess I'll go ahead and start off with my initial thoughts, because I just walked out of this one while Dylan watched the Wreck-It Ralph. This movie is dumb. It's really dumb. But I think it's actually fun. I actually enjoyed most of it. So, what'd you think?
I think it's pretty bad, in my opinion. The story it's bad. It's got a really bad story. But visually, this movie is top-notch. It's excellent. It's just that story really brings it down. So.
All right. So, story-wise, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not well written. There are too many characters. The setup is ridiculous. Like the fact that humans, like their solution to the apocalypse is putting cities on wheels and like hunting each other.
Mm-hmm.
But once you accept that and just kind of, it is kind of, I guess, a cool sci-fi kind of.
It's a semi-neat concept.
Yeah. But what if you can get past that? This movie is quickly paced, and I think that really helps it. There's lots of action, and I was honestly never really bored in this movie. It never slows down really. I know that's to the detriment of character development, obviously, but I don't feel like there's enough there for these characters to be developed, and I felt like if they'd have tried to slow down and do some character development, then I would have gotten bored, because obviously the writers on this movie I don't think would have been capable of doing good character development. So I am glad that they kept it quickly paced, kept it action-packed. The world building, I think, is actually okay. I think that it does have narration at the beginning to help, which I don't like narration in a film to explain things to the audience. But other than that short bit of narration at the beginning, I think, in my opinion, you know everything you need to know that this is set, I don't know,
1,000 years.
A couple of thousand years in the future.
It's almost exactly 1,000 years in the future.
No, because it's a couple of thousand, right? Because
it's like right at 1,000.
What does he say? Like, he said something about the Twinkies were expired in 2118, and then I think she said those are 1,000 years old. Isn't that what he says?
He said there's something like they're around 1,000 years old. I think you're led to believe that it's about 1,000 years in the future.
No, it's about 2,000, because she said they expired in 2118, and then he said those
you can't take the writing into
old.
Any consideration, because there is a point in time where I'm almost positive they say in this movie that it's about 1,000 years in the future.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, whatever. I disagree. Anyway,
again, the writing of this movie is god awful.
I think that's just you misreading things. But anyway, overall, I'll give the story 2.5 stars because it's not good. But that's not the strength of this movie. We'll talk about the strength of this movie later.
All right, so getting into my opinions on the story, I have a pretty decently long list to talk about. Let's start off with the fact that this movie is completely oversaturated with characters. A ridiculous amount of characters that you can care less about.
Can't care less about.
Yeah, you can't care less about. I don't even care about our main character in this movie, if we're being honest.
Is there a main character in this movie? Because I don't know.
Well, you're led to believe, I guess, there are two leads in the film, which would be Hera Hilmar's character and Robert Sheehan's character.
Because Robert Sheehan does most of the important stuff in this movie.
But if we're being honest, I could care less about. I couldn't care less about any of these actors, or not the actors, but their characters. I think that part of that is because of a complete and utter lack of character motivation for the most part. The only character motivation that I really caught on to was that Hera Hilmar's character, whose name is Hester Shaw, wants to get revenge on Hugo Weaving's character, Thaddeus Valentine, because he killed her mother. That's about the only character motivation in this entire movie. With that being said, there are a ridiculous amount of subplots as well. Our main plot obviously is, what I guess I would assume is this revenge plot, but also after that failed attempt at the beginning of the film, our main focus is to take out London because they want to destroy everyone. But other than that, we have a completely terrible romance subplot that happens between Hester and Robert Sheehan's character Tom. Their chemistry is not very good on screen, and I think that it was it's a bad subplot. We have a subplot with Thaddeus's daughter and a man who works in London, who they work together to try to uncover this plot about how London wants to destroy everyone, and they kind of work together to try to take down London. But with all that being said, one of my major problems with this movie is that it has very little to almost no exposition.
There's a lot of exposition.
No, there's not. There's very little exposition in this movie. There's maybe 2 or 3 scenes that have any sort of thing that tell you what's going on in this movie.
I mean, I understood what was going on. I had no problem following the plot.
I don't have a problem following
Hugo Weaving
the plot
is bad.
necessarily.
He's got a secret weapon. Must stop.
But there's nothing to explain, like, why we're in this situation, really, in my opinion. What's going on, why this is happening, really. I mean, we get a little bit of narration that says that there's a war that happened in the past, but other than that, there's two really, truly expositional scenes, I think, in my opinion, and they're both flashbacks that flesh out Hester's character a little bit, and I'd say that those 2 scenes, one scene with a flashback that includes Hugo Weaving that has to do with her mother, and her mother gets killed, and then we have another scene where after she has fled where she lives because her mother has been killed, a scene with a character whose name is Shrike, who is like a semi-zombie cyborg type character who comes to raise her.
The first time I heard his name, I thought they said Shrike, and I started laughing.
But other than that, I mean, I don't think there's I think there's very little exposition in this movie, and I feel like if we're being honest, it kind of leads the audience to try to figure out quite a bit on their own by just watching. Like you said, the setup's crazy, but you just got to take it for face value. I think the movie probably could have been 10 or 15 minutes shorter. We could have cut out a couple scenes. The caterpillar robot-looking scene thing, we could have done with that. I don't think it was important. There's also a couple Star Wars references / ripoffs. One in particular, I almost thought that Hugo Weaving's character was going to say, "I am your father."
Oh yeah, I could feel it.
I was like, he's going to say it. It's going to happen. But it didn't. And then there is a 100% ripoff of 3 occasions in the Star Wars universe where a some sort of plane or flying machine goes to the heart of whatever it's trying to destroy and shoots it and it blows up. That happens, beat for beat, in this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
But other than that, I mean, there is a lot of action, and it's pretty quickly paced, but it's a very poorly written story. I'm going to give it 1.5 stars.
I will say, I wanted to go back and talk about this. One of my biggest issues with the movie is that our main hero...
Hester?
Yeah, Hester. She doesn't get... I mean, this is a problem with a lot of movies like this that are bloated and have too many characters. She does not actually really do a lot of the heroic stuff. Like, at the end of the movie, her heroic moment is plugging a futuristic flash drive into a futuristic USB port. While
Tom's going around
actually blowing stuff up and doing good. And why Anna is actually, fighting Hugo Weaving.
And dies.
And then actually Tom's the one that kills Hugo Weaving at the end, so... But, I mean, that just happens with this kind of movie. But anyway, I guess speaking of characters, I guess I need to talk about acting. The acting is not very good. Hera Hilmar is not good. I think she's probably one of the worst actresses in this film, unfortunately. I think that Robert Sheehan actually does a decent job. I never have a moment where I'm like, oh, that was bad. But and then Hugo Weaving, obviously the big name star in this movie. He's over the top. I'm not gonna say he's terrible, but he is definitely over the top in everything he does. I kind of find it hard to believe that he absolutely refused to return for Infinity War, but yet he'll take a role like this. I mean, literally all he had done for Infinity War was spend like a couple hours in a sound recording studio. That's all he would have had done. Mm-hmm. But yet he'll play in a piece of trash like this. But, whatever. And then, again, I'm going to butcher her name. Jihae as Anna Fang. I find her character. I know that she's supposed to be like the cool character in this movie. I find her to be kind of obnoxious until at least towards the end, at least. But maybe that's just me. But overall, I'm gonna give acting 2 stars.
All right. Well, acting. I'll agree with you. Acting's pretty bad across the board. No one really does a great job in this at all. Robert Sheehan's okay. I found his character pretty whiny, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, he is whiny.
He's kind of whiny, but I guess I don't know if that would be considered more a story thing because of how his character was written.
Yeah.
I guess, but his character, I mean, it's kind of whiny. Hera Hilmar, she's pretty bad. She doesn't do a very good job in this movie. I mean, I guess you do the best with what you're given though, and you're not given much in this movie.
In particular, the scene like at the very end when she jumps off of Hugo Weaving's little boat and Hugo Weaving gets blown up, and she just kind of sits there on the deck and starts like laugh crying or whatever. I thought that was really bad.
And the scene where Shrike dies is also her like emotional scene.
It's her Oscar moment, and it's kind of rough.
It's rough. Jihae, I wouldn't say that she's necessarily obnoxious in this film. I think that she's not been in much, so I mean she doesn't have a lot to go off. I wouldn't say that she has a whole lot of acting chops. She's not been in enough to develop her acting skills. So she's not very good in the movie. Hugo Weaving's okay with what he's given. He is 100% way over the top. I mean, he's through the roof. So I'll give acting 1.5 stars on that as well.
Yeah. So for hodgepodge section, I'll say the strength of this movie is its visuals, and I mean it does get a little cartoonish at times. I feel like especially with Shrike at times with the green glow and everything. But mostly this movie is visually stunning. It's very pretty to look at. I think that all the designs of the cities and stuff is really well done. No problems there. There's one practical set that I actually really liked. Is after the big chase scene with London, the city, and the little city, little mining town. Our 2 main characters are walking through like the tracks left by London, and it's actually pretty cool. It's like these tire tracks, but they're like huge, and they're having to walk through it. And it's actually a practical set. Actually looks really good, I thought. Soundtrack is serviceable, but not memorable. I couldn't hum any of the tracks from this movie, honestly, and I just walked out of the movie. But it never distracted from the movie, I felt like. So overall, hodgepodge section, I'll give 3.5 stars on the strength of its visuals.
All right. Hodgepodge for me, like you said, the effects in this movie are great. CGI is really good. I mean, this movie is visually amazing. It's well made. I mean, cinematography is excellent for a mostly CGI movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything looks really good. I mean, I really like you said, the look of the cities. I mean, they look good.
Another Star Wars ripoff that I just connected was the city in the sky is kind of like Cloud City in Empire. But anyway.
But like I said, effects are good, CGI is good. Visually, this movie is pretty stunning, and that's its biggest strength is how well it's visually made, which you can expect from Peter Jackson and Christian Rivers, who is the leading art director on most of Peter Jackson's films. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of his first directorial credits. He's mostly credited as an art director on Peter Jackson's films, and he does a really good job with that. I mean, everything looks really good. I mean, I think the world looks really cool. I mean, it's a neat setting. I think it looks good. Your thing about Shrike and his effects, the first time I saw him come out, I was like, Dr. Doom from Fantastic.
The first thing I thought of was, because I'd seen him in the trailer, but I thought that he was going to be Hugo Weaving, with Hugo Weaving's like mask taken off or something, and I thought it was going to be like the Red Skull all over again, because that's what he reminded me of. But turns out they're 2 separate characters, so I can't make that correlation.
I was like Dr. Doom from Fantastic. That's kind of what he looked like to me. But like you said, score, it's not bad. It doesn't take away or detract from the movie in any way. It's just forgettable. So I'll give the hodgepodge section 3.5 stars as well.
All right. So overall, like I talked about, it is poorly written. There's no way getting around that. But visually stunning for the most part. Acting's bad, but I think that one of the big things that also helps save this movie, other than its visuals, is it is very quickly paced. I was actually, even though this movie is not well written, I was never actually bored, because there is almost constant action on screen, and the action is decently staged for the most part. So, you know, I kind of thought that their little fight on the city in the clouds is actually kind of cool and neat. And their final fight when it goes full out Star Wars, when their little ships are fighting the city or whatever, it's pretty neat. You know, it is ripping off Star Wars, but I mean, I guess it's better than not ripping off Star Wars. But so, you know, I would, like I said, never bored. I actually kind of enjoyed this movie. So because of that, I'll give it 3 angry Hugo Weavings out of 5.
3 angry Hugo Weavings. Yeah, I mean, I'm for the most part on the same page as you. This movie is, it's really poorly written. I mean, the story is its major downfall, and it's bad. But visually stunning. I mean, it's like we just said. The CGI in this film is great. The action is well filmed and well framed and shot. I really actually one of the only parts I thoroughly enjoyed of this movie was the opening chase scene. I thought it looked great.
It did.
But that's its biggest strong point is the fact that it's visually stunning and amazing. But the story really detracts from that, and the acting really detracts from that. So I'm gonna give it 2 stars, or not 2 stars. I'll give it 2 Rolling Londons out of 5.
2 Rolling Londons.
2 Rolling Londons.
It's kind of harsh, Dylan, but I think didn't you give Robin Hood a better score than that?
I gave Robin Hood 2.5 stars.
Oh my gosh, Robin Hood was terrible.
Robin Hood's bad, but Robin Hood, in my opinion, is so bad and so ridiculous that it's enjoyable. To me, the story of this movie is just bad.
I don't think it's worse than Robin Hood.
The only thing good about this story to me is nothing is really good about the story to me. I mean, if we're being honest, the best thing about this movie is it's visually well made. The story in Robin Hood, I mean, yeah, it's dumb, but it's a story we've seen, and I can enjoy it because of how over the top and stupid it is.
Well, okay. I'll disagree. I think Robin Hood was much less enjoyable than this film. But anyway, upcoming, we have a review of The Mule, Clint Eastwood's
which we'll be going
film.
to see tomorrow.
Yeah, excited to see that. I think it'll be...
I'm hearing pretty decent things about it.
I'm hearing decent things about it. I mean, it's Clint Eastwood. What can go wrong?
Well, no.
And then, of course, Bumblebee and Aquaman.
Spider-Man,
Aquaman, all the same thing.
It's really not.
Bumblebee.
Spider-Man's going to be way better than Aquaman.
Bumblebee and Spider-Man, followed by Aquaman and Mary Poppins, and that will finish out the year for us as far as reviews go. Anything particular you're excited to see there?
I'm really excited for Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse and Bumblebee. I think that those will be really good. I'm hearing really good things about Bumblebee. I'm hearing really great things about Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, Aquaman and Mary Poppins. I'm hearing mixed reviews of.
Yeah. I'm really excited to do our discussion for Bumblebee and Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
that'll be a fun one.
Movies.
We'll rank all the.
I'm interested to see
all 5 Transformers movies, I guess, and then all the Spider-Man movies. That'll be a fun time.
I'm interested to see how similar our rankings of the Spider-Man films are. Probably pretty similar.
What's your bottom?
Oh, I mean,
Amazing Spider-Man
spoiler alert: Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But what's your top?
I'll save that for later.
All right.
So anyway, I think that's all we got for this particular episode. As always, gotta plug those social media sites.
Yeah, absolutely. We are up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at DNA Film Wars, all lowercase, no space on all those platforms. So go ahead and give us a like or a follow.
If you have any specific questions and or comments, you can contact us at dnafilmwars@gmail.com. As always, of course, we are on all major podcasting services. Feel free to leave us a review, 5 stars preferably.
If you can't find us on one of those many podcasting services that we're up on, we're also up on YouTube with audio files.
Soon to be video files, hopefully.
Keep a lookout for that.
So, as always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Dylan, and we'll catch you in the next one.
For a long time. Your mother, she said she had found something dangerous. She was afraid of Valentine, of what he might do.
The man who controls this, controls the world.
She said that you could stop him.
This weapon can wipe out the largest city in the blink of an eye.
Not if we shut it down.
Nothing can stand in the face of this.
We have to stop London before it destroys us. You sure you want to do this? Once we go in, there's no going back.
I have to.